What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is David Hamlin, aka the Laptop Legend, and today I'm going to be talking about the stocks for tomorrow. On Friday, I made $1,100 day trading, but apparently Schwab charges all the shorting fees at the end of the month, so I actually got hit with a $677 fee out of the blue. They subtracted from my account, so my net account change was not $1,100 yesterday. It was whatever the difference is, so I don't know, $400 increase, but you know, still a pretty typical day for me, and most of this is due to the fact that I have very limited buying power because there are so many opportunities to go long right now, kind of limited shorting opportunities, honestly, unless you got some really good locates. There are going to be some good shorts that I will talk about, but for the most part, I feel like it's definitely more opportunities on the long side right now, which is honestly kind of crazy. So I'm going to be talking about that today, talking about some stocks that had some news come out, talking about some crazy runners that we have that are just starting up. So it was day one on Friday. Potentially we get a day two that gets another crazy increase. So I want to put all these on your radar so that you can be prepared tomorrow to make as much money as possible. Also, just as a heads up, the new month has officially cycled, so it is now May, and that means Discord will not bill you again on the first of the month until, I guess, the next first of the month. So if you want to join, now would be a good time to do it. So definitely check out the link in the description below because I call out these plays live on the microphone pretty much all day, every day during market hours. So pretty helpful if you are a beginner. So yeah, without further ado, let's dive into these charts. The first chart we need to talk about is BTX because this stock is an absolute beast. Now, from what I've heard, it is a little bit difficult to trade if you are taking really big size, but I think if you're taking normal size, it definitely has a lot of opportunities. But you got to be very strict with your risk levels and risk based off of smart areas on the chart. And I just wanted to show this 10-day chart so you guys can see how far this stock has really come. Man, it was at as low as $7.25, and I was doing technical analysis down here when it had some beautiful ascending wedges, and it just absolutely ripped past that. And this thing has just kept going. This is a perfect example of a multi-day runner where every time you think it's breaking down, you know, it spikes up here and then comes back down. But then it just rips through that and just makes a new high, man. It rips through that and makes a new high. And we get the same thing here. It rips up, comes back down. You think it's fading, you know, it fades all day here. People made $100,000 shorting it this day. But then it finds a base and just absolutely rips all day long. Rips past these levels, rips to a new high. Absolutely crazy, right? Well, I thought it was done, right? I thought it was done. I think a lot of people probably thought it was done. And you get it coming all the way up here, and it makes a high around that $60 mark, okay. And then it comes back down and makes a, I guess, kind of a lower high there. And it breaks down. It does hold this area decently well. I would say it holds this support decently well. But here's the thing, you know, it breaks back up barely, but then it immediately rejects. And then it breaks down below that support level. So it's consolidating in here. And typically you would think that, man, this thing is just over. This thing is done with. It might, you know, see a bounce attempt, but it's going to fail before it breaks this high. And then it's just going to, you know, come on back down and just fade all the way down. But it did not do that, guys. It did not do that. And in after hours, BTX was squeezing so hard. It squeezed from, where did it close? Around that $50 mark. And it went as high as $78.88. Absolutely nuts, guys. Absolutely nuts. So this is just an incredible example of the power of these low float stocks and how they can keep going higher than you think they can keep going. And this is why you don't want to be stubborn, especially on the short side. Can you imagine shorting this? You know, I don't even know. Like back when it had gone from what? From $7 all the way up to $27, you're thinking, all right, there's no way this thing goes any higher. It goes all the way up to $78, guys, and it can keep going higher. That's what's crazy. So we need to see what the price action looks like for this stock on Monday, which is tomorrow, but it has the potential to keep going, guys. This has the potential to break $100 and potentially keep running. Now, if I had to guess, I feel like it probably just fades off. At this point, I feel like it may gap down. Well, maybe not gap down, you know, because it's up so much in after hours. Gap down would have to be below this area right here. But I feel like there's a decent chance that this, you know, continues down in pre-market and then gets under these levels and just fades hard. You know, this could see a huge red day and be down closing near the 30s again. That's personally what I expect. But it's proved me wrong and proved so many other people wrong so many times that this thing could easily fade, refuse to break down past this $50 area or this, you know, $45 area, completely bounce, rip through these highs, and break through 100 in one day. It has the potential to do that, guys. So you got to be really careful on both sides. You know, if you're going long, this thing can dump on you so hard. I mean, it went from 57 to 47 in barely any time at all. So if you're not cutting your losses quickly or intelligently, you know, based on the chart, you're going to get screwed. You're going to get absolutely screwed. So you got to be really, really careful. But this thing, it has so much opportunity, guys. It really does. And I think the main thing, you know, just looking at this, the best way to trade this, regardless of what it's doing, is you got to be patient when you're getting your entries, guys. So if you wait for several red candles to see a pullback, you're going to be profitable more often than if you buy after several green candles. And this is just something that you got to work on in terms of your patience and being willing to not chase and not give in to that FOMO. Because when you're looking at this chart and you know, you see it spiking and it's going higher like this, you know, you want to buy it because you don't want to miss out on the next run. But usually when you get a couple green candles in a row, it usually pulls back. And if you're buying after a big red candle, that's always a safer entry than if you're buying, you know, after a big green candle, in my personal opinion. Now, again, I'm not a financial advisor, you know, yada, yada. You guys can do whatever you want. Always consult with a professional. But that's just, you know, what I've seen after a long time of doing this. So especially if you can wait for it to find a bottom and then get some curling action, you know, see a big red candle and then start to find its way back up, you know, start to bounce, maybe break past the highs of, you know, the consolidation area. That's a decent long area. You know, that's a decent long area when that happens. So just look for that price action. But BTX is going to have so many opportunities, regardless of if you have shares to short or not. If you do, it could be a really great short. It could be a great all-day fader. But don't take it for granted, and definitely cover, you know, as you're getting profitable, because you got to lock in some gains, because this thing has proven that it can fade and then come right back up and rip to new highs. So be careful. But this stock, whew, incredible, man. Absolutely love it. So that's the main NASDAQ that you guys need to be watching. In terms of OTCs, guys, obviously BPSR, this is one that has been on the radar for a couple of days now, just because it's been going wild. You know, it's been going wild. It went from pretty much nothing. You could have bought in the 7-cent area, and it went as high as 62 cents. And I said in my previous video, you know, I think this thing is getting overextended, and I think we're going to have a nice red day. And we absolutely did. It was down, what, 33%, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, it was down 33% on the day, pretty much from 60 down to 40. So at this point, we got to see what type of price action this stock has, because as of now, it's holding up this, you know, pretty much 40 support area pretty nicely, I would say. Every time it's broken under this, it pretty much just bounces right on back. So you can see here, yeah, the line's still there if I zoom out. So you can see this thing, it's held it up pretty well. But if it breaks down below these lows, especially this one right here, because that's where it bounced before. So you can see that right there. 38, that is a really, really important support area. And if it breaks that, I would say this thing probably fades off a lot more and maybe closes around 25 cents or something like that. So I would not stay long under the break of that personally, but this thing could also rebound here, bounce up, and easily rip to new highs. It has the potential to do that. So you just got to respond to the price action. Based on this chart, if I had to guess, I feel like it's setting up for a morning panic. So I feel like this thing is pretty susceptible to getting smacked by some shorts right at open, triggering a bunch of stop losses under this 38 area and seeing a huge red candle. I mean, this thing could dip all the way down to 30 in the first minute or two of the day. And if it does that, I think it could be a really great dip buying opportunity. You know, you dip buy at 30 and you sell at 34, 35. I think it could be really nice. So that's probably what I'm going to be looking on for this, because there's no shares to short, and I can't profit off of really the downside in any way besides dip buying. But again, if it holds this area right here at the 40 cent and starts ripping up, I think that's a pretty decent buy, because it has the potential to get above this area. So those are the key support and resistance levels you want to be looking for on this stock. It is definitely one that has a lot of volatility, so you got to be careful, because the executions are pretty trash and it can be hard to get out, even with small size, guys. Even with small size. You know, I trade 1,000 shares sometimes of this stock, and it'll take me a minute to sell when it's trading, you know, hundreds of thousands in a minute. So just be careful. Just be careful. Don't take too big size and get washed out and take a $5,000 loss when it starts dumping. So just be careful. That's all I'm going to say on this one. Now, the stock that I really am interested to see how it performs is QNTA. And this is one that I called out very early in the Discord, but I actually didn't have, again, enough buying power to really take a big position and hold it. So I was just day trading this a little bit, but it was tough, man. It was tough because I think it came on my radar about here, but typically speaking, when these stocks come on my radar, most of them spike up a little bit and then they just fail. So when you see a stock that spikes from 6.8 all the way up to 9, you're thinking, all right, this thing's probably coming down pretty soon. But then it goes on this crazy rip and just kept going. And here's the thing, it had a big pullback. Most of the time when stocks do that, it's going to be over. It has a big spike and it just fades all the way back down. But this one was able to recover, make these higher lows, make a break of this high right here. So that's what's important. And it closed right at those highs. So I think this easily has the potential to gap up and continue running tomorrow. Now, that's not to say it's for sure going to do that, but based on how this chart closed, I like the chances for that to happen. Closing near the high a day, especially after having this ascending support line here. So you can kind of see it's not insanely clean, but I mean, I can draw this, kind of here in this area, and you can see for the most part, I mean, it does match up pretty darn well. So I think this has the potential to squeeze out over 20 and see another explosive day too. This thing could get up towards 50 cents for all I know. Maybe it just doubles. I have no idea. I really have no idea. But I like how this chart looks. This chart looks a lot more promising for a great run tomorrow than BPSR, where again it's been making lower highs and is closing right near the low of day. It's pretty much the opposite. So this is what you don't want to see if you're going long, and QNTA, this is what you do want to see. So again, flat top, increasing support line, which is pretty much the opposite of flat bottom, decreasing resistance line, if that makes sense. So these are the two main stocks that I'm watching for tomorrow in terms of OTCs. I'll also be watching BTX because, that was the hottest stock. That really was the hottest stock in the market yesterday. So you gotta be trading whatever's the hottest thing because there's the most opportunity there. A few other stocks. RHE, this is my former lover. This is the one that I traded back when it spiked up on December 28th, along with ACY. I talk about it pretty much every video. But this is a former supernova, guys. And whenever you have former supernovas, when they get a lot of volume, they have the potential to spike explosively. This thing actually had more volume today than it had back on that day, which is nuts. This is a pretty crazy chart, guys. Pretty crazy chart. And this is one of those stocks that can be explosive, but usually, as you can see from this chart, it just wicks pretty hard and then fades back down. So I don't expect anything too great out of this tomorrow. If we got a day 2 move, that would be pretty surprising. So most likely this thing just fades off. But if it breaks these highs convincingly, right here, if it breaks these highs convincingly, it could definitely be a good potential long. You just got to be careful because this thing does have massive 1-minute red candles. I mean, from 10 all the way down to 875. So, you lose instantly like that. So you got to be really, really careful with these super low float stocks. It has a 1.5 million float. Anything under 10 million is very explosive. So this is just, it's like, if you put, I don't know, Elon Musk's SpaceX and you try to launch a rocket in the middle of dynamite with gasoline, that's what happens when you give volume to this stock. So that was probably a really bad analogy, but you get the point, guys. This thing can move on anything, so you got to be very careful, but there's also the potential to profit a ton. So keep that in mind. This is another NASDAQ if you guys are interested in that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. GGII, this thing is still freaking moving, guys. If you look at this chart, it will not quit. It will not quit. I don't know how this thing hasn't had a huge red day yet, but it just keeps going forever. There's no shares to short anymore, so I'm not really interested in buying it up here, especially not to hold long term. Maybe we get a nice little panic, but it has just such weird price action, guys, so I would just be careful. Same thing with GVSI. This one is just very, very strange. I don't know if this was just one person dumping all their shares, but I missed this. Every time I feel like I get screwed over by this stock. I try to go long on it, and it ends up faking me out. I try to go short and it upticks and then I cover and then it dumps horribly. If you chase into weakness, it'll instantly bounce on you. It's just very tough to trade this particular stock, but it is up a ton. It is up a ton. So I really don't know. I really don't know. If it can break out past this level, past that 4-cent area, okay, maybe it gets that 5-cent area that I've been talking about for days now. But it could also have another really big red day and finish around, I don't know, this 2.2-cent area, maybe around there. I have no idea. So I'm willing to keep watching this thing, but it is very annoying to trade. So do not chase into weakness and do not chase into strength if you're going on the long side, because it is, wow, it is tough, man. It is tough to trade. Anything else? HMBL had a little more volatility today. I guess on Friday. It did spike up nicely after the typical morning dip. Had a nice little spike, consolidated, kind of went sideways, but had a little nice spike in the close. No shares to short, and it immediately dumped off of that. So still flipping opportunities, but definitely more scarce, and it's just crazy, man. Crazy how much this stock has pulled back. It really, really is crazy. So I don't know. I don't know if it makes another run here and attempts breaking this 250 area, or if it, I feel like it's going to hold this $1 area. If it doesn't, man, that would be absolutely crazy. I mean, I know there's people holding who had it up here and they never sold. So there's definitely a lot of bag holders on this stock. I have an investor call coming up soon, so I might try to tune into that and see if there's any important takeaways from that regard. So we'll see what's going on with that one, but just keep it on your radar, as always. ILUS, I don't think this really did much today. Just feels like it's consolidating, but it's kind of sad, man. It's kind of sad, honestly. Apparently there's some dilution that they're not talking about, but I mean, it's still, I guess for now, is having this increasing support line, so that is good to see. If it breaks this, it could get ugly. It really could get ugly, so we'll see what happens, guys. I do like this long term. I do like what the company's doing, but there's just some weird, funky stuff going on, so it throws me off a little bit. It means I don't like it as much long term as I do MIDI. So that's why I don't have a ton of shares of this one. Speaking of MIDI, I forget if I mentioned this, guys, but they had their S1 filed. I don't know why that doesn't show up on here, but that means they're still planning to uplist soon. So again, I'm trying to load. I wish this thing would be under 30 for me, but we'll see what happens. I still don't have my E-Trade fixed, but once I do, I'm going to try to get some more shares of MIDI. I'm trying to think anything else. OZSC on Friday, it had a nice little PR in the middle of the day. I did call this one out. I did go long on this. I only bought 40,000 shares right at this area, but still made some decent profit, selling it right here in this area. So, that's just one of those things. If you nail one of those plays, it pays for itself, man. It pays for itself. So I try to call these out every time in the Discord and where I'm buying. If I had more buying power, I would have bought 200K shares instead of like 40K. But, it is what it is. I'll get there eventually. But it's nice to see these breaking news plays still are a thing that does work. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That's pretty much it. Main focuses, again, are BTX, QNTA, and then potentially dip buy on BPSR. So that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Hopefully we can kill this month together. Make it a good one. May the 4th be with you. That's going to happen soon. I should probably make that joke later on. Throw some Darth Vader or something. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, let's grow better together. Preguntar, bebé, dime por qué te mientes. No puedes esconder todo lo que tú por mí sientes.